Today on the Buckeye Roast, we're joined by a very special guest, Anand from PlayerProfiler, as we share our experiences from camp, lay out expectations for the season, and take a deep dive into the Texas and Ohio State matchup. Then later on in the show, we have another special guest joining us for something a little bit new, debuting a new game segment to close things out. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. All things Ohio State, Texas, plus all around the Big Ten. I'm Kris Drew, and this is the Buckeye Roast with Ron and Q right here on Dead Air Sports. Make sure you like and subscribe.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are back for another episode of the Buckeye Roast. It's your boy Ron James here with my guy. Smash that like.
All right, I guess another day. Come on, people. We go yesterday, the like button.
You, how you doing? I have a stat of the day. We normally start this with a stat of the day or maybe a trivia question or maybe just a question. Q, today simply all I have is a number. That number, 41. Any idea?
41. Not off the top of my head.
Likes on yesterday's video. So your name is going to be smashed out like for a minimum of 3 more episodes of the Buckeye Roast. The goal around here is to get to 50 likes for 3 straight episodes, and we can take this goofy banner off the screen and Q can have his name back. But until then, he is going to be known as Smash That Like. You ask Grok, you ask ChatGPT about the Buckeye Roast, they're going to tell you about Ron James and Smash That Like in their morning show about Ohio State every morning at 8 a.m. until you guys decide to smash that like and let our guy get his name back.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm going to retweet yesterday's episode instead of today's one. It'll be like, don't forget to watch the new episode and hit that like button. Wait a second.
I don't know what's more unlikely, Q getting on Twitter or Q watching college football. Both highly unlikely unless they start broadcasting the Ohio State game on Twitter.
Too funny. But we got a very special guest. I definitely want to hit you with a little quick.
Two, don't undersell it. We have 2 special guests today.
Yeah, Kris Drew got me excited. I'm on the show. So can't wait for that. Quick update. We talked about Fox and YouTube. They have reached an agreement. So you don't necessarily have to run out your house to that local bar and burn YouTube TV. They will have an agreement for Saturday temporarily, but you will be able to watch the game.
But what about all the people out there that wasted time meeting with their financial advisors, figuring out what they were going to do with their $10 if this dispute wasn't worked out?
Oh man, don't worry. Just bank it as a credit.
I guess so. We're gonna have to say a prayer for those people, Q. But we got an action-packed show today, and I want to get us to our guest, man. Let's get the show started.
Play the song, man. Let's go.
We have our guy Anand of PlayerProfiler. Anand, how you doing?
Good, man. Back in the city. Energy is way up here. People are very excited. Obviously, we got the national championship banner unveiling, but also we're unveiling our bright, shiny new quarterback, Julian Saint. You heard it here first.
Q, what are you more excited to see? Our new quarterback or our new banner?
Our new quarterback. You know, it's a new season, man. You gotta look forward and be ready. We're playing Texas, so I'm ready to see our new quarterback go out and spin it and see if we can run this back to back.
Yeah, I know. I can't be that excited about the banner. My national championship gear already has holes in it. I've been wearing it so much. I sleep in it. I wear it every day. So I'm not too excited about a banner. I've been feeling like a champion for 9 months now. I'm ready to see this new quarterback. But we got plenty to talk about. We are going to break down everything Ohio State, Texas, but I wanted to jump in the Wayback Machine for a little bit and thank my guy Anand who invited me to go to camp with him this year. That's how I was able to get all that access this past year and be able to tweet from the sidelines, some VIP access, got to go to the Ryan Day luncheon, got got a picture with Coach Day, all because of my guy Anand. So a big thank you. And I wanted to ask you about that trip and your time at practice. What'd you see out there? And like, what was your biggest takeaway? Because I felt like both of us were pretty unsure about what we were going to see out there going into day one. And definitely left a lot more confident about the team. What were your big takeaways from your 3 days at camp?
Yeah, obviously we had a great time out there, getting to hang out with people. And, a lot of it is not even taking our own opinions, right? Just confirming what we've heard from other media people from before that time when we didn't have access to anything that we were seeing. And obviously seeing all of our folks out there getting to say hey to Juck and all of our Buckeye Huddle friends and everybody else we saw out there. But to me, the biggest takeaway was kind of the same thing that we talked about last season, which is if they need to run the damn ball to get through the early part of the season, they can. The exception is this time that the defense that they're going to have to run on Saturday looks a little bit different than, it's not quite Akron or Western Michigan or Ohio. Those are some big boys. And I think, we were nervous because we knew what week one looked like. And we knew that this team's expectations are basically going to be set for the entire season based on what we see on Saturday afternoon. I was pleasantly surprised by how James Peoples looked. Obviously, the wide receivers are a factory of aliens, Max Clare as well. But, the defense, we were worried about, how Sonny and Arbel would play next to each other, if there was going to be some defensive line depth that we could look at, offensive line depth that we could look at. And kind of given the way that they run practice over there, it's kind of tough to say that we have the dudes, but they certainly look the part. And so I was pleasantly surprised at what the team looks like, given that they've really only had 3 or 4 months to get together at this point.
Bigger apology needed, Coach Mick or Justin Fry?
Both. Thank you, Urban. Thank you, Urban. Apologies to everybody, right? There was a game that was played on November 30th that we're still mad about. There's a game played, I think, October 12th last year that people are so mad about.
I'm not mad about that one. I think it's a funny notch in the story now. Like, all right, whatever. You thought you were tough shit. You beat us by 30. You beat us by 3 points, and then we come back and kick your ass in the Rose Bowl when it really matters. Like, welcome to the Big Ten.
Yeah, but they're not happy about any loss in that building right now. So
no. I love that.
The goal is the same as always. It's to win every game. And I think the message this week and, going into this game is going to be the same thing that Ryan has said at any point in time before, which is make them quit. That's your job. Make them not want to play this game anymore.
I say no moss. Anna, I wanted to ask you because you talked about the offensive line. Big Ten TV came out and they said this is the best coached offensive line they've seen. And obviously, you and Ron got to go out there and see Tyler Bowen in first hand. I was on the way I was about to say in first person. There we go. So I want to ask you, what is your impression of this offensive line? Because we knew what Justin Fry delivered. We talked about praising him off for last season. We got a new coach in town. What's it going to look like?
I think that the difference this time is instead of having a couple swing players, they feel like they're 7-8 deep. This year, they're legitimately 10 deep. There's really a 2 deep on the O-line. If you lose a left guard, you can plug in a left guard. You're not trying to move tackles and do all the stuff that we've had to do the last couple of years, which, don't get me wrong, the players that we had that played O-line last year were fantastic, and they adapted to change about as well as you could ever ask anyone to, given, the adversity they faced with Josh Simmons going down and Seth McLaughlin going down. But I think this unit is different because you have 5 guys behind your starting 5 that you feel good about putting out there in the event that someone gets injured. And as we know, and as we found out last year, and as everybody that kind of watched this first iteration of the 12-team playoff, it's a war of attrition. And you're going to need bodies in ways that you haven't had bodies before. It's a much more NFL-style schedule. And I think this team is a little bit more prepared just on that unit than last year's team was. But, again, we hope we don't have to see anybody as a backup this year. It's just, having the ability to have 4 tackles you feel good about, 4 guards you feel good about, 2 centers you feel good about. That necessarily hasn't been what we've had in the past couple of years. And so I think as a unit, they profile as something a little bit different than what we've had. that's not necessarily a great thing or a bad thing because, you need to see what those 5 look like together. But to me, I think as a unit, Tyler Bowen's done a fantastic job since he's been here. And I think that there's a lot of confidence put in that unit to really carry the offense early on.
Quick follow-up for that. Obviously, me and Ron have talked about the tackles a lot. Austin Saravel has quickly rose to fame. We call him the next first rounder around here because the last 3 guys have all gone in the first round that's played tackle. And obviously, we have a battle on the other side with Phillip Daniels and Ethan. Going up against Colin Simmons and Anthony Hill week 1. I mean, those 2 guys are definitely on my no bar fight list. I'm trying to avoid them in any confrontation possible. But what's your confidence level that they can keep them? I mean, I can see a sack or something in the way, but keep them relatively quiet. 1 to 5, what will your confidence level be?
I think that a lot of the game plan is going to be built around making sure that Julian feels comfortable with what he's seeing. So I think you're going to see Texas and Ohio State are both going to try to find out what the other has in the defensive interior early. You're going to see a lot of inside zone. You might see some duo from both teams. But I think when you kind of break it down a little bit further, it's more of the who figures out the quick game faster. And by the quick game, I don't just mean passing. I mean rushing as well, right? Whichever team figures out how they can get 3 to 4 yards on a given play when they need it and get to 2nd and 6 or 2nd and 5, help their QB out is going to feel a little bit better. And so I think when you kind of look at how this O-line is built and the experience that they got through the playoff last year, one of the things that I was really impressed with was they were just moving Tennessee's bodies around. And those are not easy players to move around. Like Omar Norman Lott is a very, very good football player. That's not an easy dude to move around. But as a unit, we have to see how the 5 of them work together. And if, Colin Simmons, Anthony Hill, and, obviously you get a tip ball, Michael Taft's still back there. Secondary is very good. There's a lot of players. In a lot of ways, the defenses mirror each other in terms of having 3 really special players that could potentially be first-round picks. And then from there, you go down a level and you've got a bunch of unproven guys, but very highly touted recruits or guys that, you've seen make big plays in big moments. I think that we're kind of profiling, we've talked about this before off camera, but we're profiling kind of a rock fight where, it kind of looks like, one of the old school Texas Ohio State matchups. And so for that reason, it's going to come down to making sure that if Colin Simmons gets off the edge or if Anthony Hill, blitzes and comes at your quarterback, that play has to be a net 0 or a sack and not a strip fumble or, Jack Sawyer, but the opposite version.
There you go. Ron.
We've talked a lot about this offensive line and the questioning, is this team going to be able to run the ball against this Texas front? I want to ask you because people seem to be getting cold feet when it comes to the interior of this Texas defensive line after all summer talking about, oh man, they got every D tackle in the portal. And then you hear, well, Hero Canu's not really working out the way that they anticipated. We've watched Hero Canu not look the best at times at Ohio State. If that's someone that they're trotting out into 2 deep, I was listening to the Cover 3 podcast and Danny Cannell's talking about the interior and they're like, yeah, they got all those guys. And I'm like, I've watched at least 5 national podcasts talking about Texas defensive line, and no one said any of them their names. So at this point, how confident are we? Because it just continued to be referred to as that group of 6 transfers. But what is your understanding of what this Texas interior is going to look like and the confidence level that Texas fans should have holding up against this Ohio State offensive line, which we just saw won a national championship? That is the returning portion of Ohio State's offensive line, their center and their 2 guards that we watched play in the national championship game.
Yeah, I think both teams are obviously, given where they are and how they recruit and how they've built towards, 2024, 2025, 2026 is their window. Both teams' aspirations are to win a national title. And at some point in this game, both teams are going to find out whether their defensive tackles can hold up enough. I think both teams will use a combination of defensive tackles. I don't think it's just going to be these we think are our 2 best, run them out there. I think you'll see Hero. I think you'll see multiple guys on our 2 and 3 deep as well. But at some point,
if Hero Canu's out on the field on Saturday, Ohio State is running the ball right at him. I'm just being honest with you. So what I'm telling, like the way that people have talked about this Texas defensive line, I'm familiar with some people on it, at least one of them. And if that is who you're relying on and you're too deep, I feel like Brian Hartline and Ryan Day are going to be ecstatic when they see him come on the field.
I think the other part of it is how fresh do you need to keep those guys, because they haven't played snaps like this ever, really, on both sides. Not just Texas's guys, but Ohio State's defensive tackles and the edge rushers as well. They haven't played snaps like this. I think in the
Tennessee game, Edric Houston and K-Mac combined for like 26 snaps between the two of them. And you look at the snaps that were required by Tyleek and Ty Hamilton, they were getting 40 plus snaps a game.
Yeah. And I think that, I don't know that either side knows exactly who their best four rushers are. We're going to see, I'm sure, a Rushman package from one team or both of them where it's mostly edge rushers and the D tackles are removed. So I'm excited to see the chess match between, kind of what Pete Piaskowski is going to do for Texas and what Brian Hartline has cooked up for Ohio State, because again, you have a get out of jail free card in number 4 that no one else in America maybe has ever had. And so your answers to a lot of these questions literally might just be throw it to Jeremiah Smith. And I don't know how reliable a long-term plan that is against great team after great team after great team that's going to take them away. But if they struggle running in the interior, I think you're going to start to see them run some of the RPO stuff, try to get some quick slants out there, maybe a screen or two. Just try to get the ball moving in whatever fashion they can, because I think this game is more about first downs than touchdowns. Because I don't think that these teams are going to score in the 30s. And I think if they do score in the 30s, one or both of these defenses are going to be dissected in some way that we just can't see in the preseason. So for me, it's not necessarily about how good those two defensive tackles are for Texas. It's about how often they rotate them, how quickly we can wear them out, and if there is someone, in your case, you think it's Hero, that you can run right at.
I want to ask you about the national narrative that seems to be people harping on the idea that Ohio State has so many new players. Both of these teams have a ton of new starters. Why is no one talking about all of the departures on this Texas team and the amount of production that they're looking to replace? It just seems that everybody just wants to assume that this is a Disney movie, that Arch Manning is just going to cure everything. He's going to play every position. He's going to play offensive line and quarterback the first time we've ever seen it. Help me understand why no one's talking about the lack of returning production on the Texas side of the ball, but it seems to be everybody's favorite topic of conversation with the Buckeyes.
I think it's because the names that departed from Ohio State were names that people got used to. It was your Tyleek Williams, your Ty Hamilton, your JT Tuimoloau, your Jack Sawyer, the players that had recruiting grades where you remember them in high school. And you were trying to see if they could ever live up to that kind of recruiting potential. Your Denzel Burks, your, Lathan Ransom, Cody Simon. A lot of these guys were instrumental in turning around the Ohio State defense, even when it didn't look that great in 2022 and 2023 at times. Whereas I think a lot of what Texas lost was on their O-line and some of their defensive tackle depth, which aren't players that get talked about as much as the guys that Ohio State had lost. I think it's a really strange matchup because half of these teams are different. I mean, you're talking about Texas returning a quarterback that played in really 3 games and maybe 1 game in total of consequence.
And another thing that people don't bring up about one of those 3 games is it was against one of the worst passing defenses in all of college football. I think it was ranked north of 110 in Mississippi State.
Well, the weird disparity here is if Brian Hartline kind of molds the clay that it, and Ryan Day as well, molds the clay that is Julian Sayin,
there is an advantage in never having seen the kid take snaps. Like, we've seen the arch run package. That's something that they're going to be prepared for. Whereas if you had never watched him play, that's not something that you're going to consider as a big package in a game like this. Instead, it was going to be, how is he going to handle cover 3? Like, can we run country cover 3 even one time? Are we going to have to split our safeties? What does our defensive structure have to look like? Now it's more of a, if you're looking at the Texas side of this, with Julian saying he's a total unknown. He could be fantastic from the jump. He could be a total, not bust, because he's got way more talent than to say anything like that. But he might be much more limited than they think. He might be much better than they think. But they haven't seen it. There's no film to dissect. There's nothing to see other than when he was in high school 2 years ago. And so there is an advantage for, Ryan Day and Brian Hartline to give him some things that they haven't thrown out in their offense yet, wrinkles that they've been saving for a big game, or, going back to the well from some of the stuff they did with Justin in 2019 or with Dwayne in 2018 that hasn't been pulled out in a minute. So I think when you try to figure out what Ohio State's going to do with Sand, it's much more of a mixed bag of, I have no idea what I'm going to look at, so I might have to play much more vanilla defense than what Matt Patricia is going to be able to do, because Ohio State has seen what Arch Manning to this point can do. Now, obviously, he hasn't played in a game of this magnitude and really had to have it all on his shoulders, but they're going to find out real quick, can he process at the level that is required or not for both of these guys? And I think that it's just a very tough environment for both QBs to walk into, because you both know this. Look, it may be a home game. They go 3 and out the first 3 drives. You know what that crowd is going to sound like.
Road game.
The Boo Birds. But honestly, I love that. You better lock the fuck in. This is Ohio State, and this is exactly what you signed up for. I feel bad for the kid in the moment for half a second. I would not boo my starting quarterback in person in their first start. I'll leave it at that. But I think he definitely deserves more leeway, but at the same time, you know what you signed up for. You came to Ohio State for a reason, to play in front of 100,000 fans and make them cheer, not for them to boo you. So you better lock in, and I can't feel bad for you in the moment. But I have all the confidence in the world that Julian Sane is ready for this moment. I feel like he checks all the boxes as far as pedigree as a recruit. I know a lot of people put a lot less stock in that than I do. I am a huge fan of 7-on-7. I love camp circuits, especially for quarterbacks. So I put a lot of stock in all of that. Julian was as elite as it comes on the camp circuit as a high school prospect and as a 7-on-7 prospect. I've seen him play at the highest levels, whether that be at Elite 11 finals competitions, whether that be at OT7 nationals, whether that be in California state playoff games. I feel like he has performed in high pressure situations his entire career, and I think he'll be more than ready for the moment. So I'm super excited for that. But I wanted to circle back to something that you mentioned. Q and I have talked about this all week, about the potential of the unknown, and not just with the quarterback and the countless new starters for Ohio State, but specifically the lack of tape on both of these coordinators. What can Texas expect from either one of these guys? And I want to start specifically with Matt Patricia. I was trolling a little bit when I was talking to my Penn State buddy about Jim Knowles and like the ways that his defense can become cancerous in ways, and just the flaws that we've seen in it and the way that it can be exploited in years past. But then I just started reminiscing, and I'm like, man, we talked about this while we were in Columbus. One of my favorite highlight compilations is watching the goal line stands by Jim Knowles' defense during that national championship run, from the start of the season to the end of the season. The amount of times that defense bent but didn't break, and Jim Knowles was able to come up with a stop. What do you expect from Matt Patricia? And we've watched Jim Knowles be able to adjust at halftime, and it felt like we didn't watch other teams score in the second half of games the majority of Jim Knowles' tenure. We've watched him be excellent on third down. What do you expect this Matt Patricia defense to look like in week 1 against Arch Manning and one of the best offensive minds in the country in Steve Sarkisian?
I think the bigger question, you touched on it just now. I don't think it's as much about Arch as it is about Sark and trying to figure out. I think that him and Ryan are two of the best play calling sequencers we have, where something you call in the first quarter sets up something in the third that sets up something in the fourth quarter and into weeks beyond. I think that's really the trouble for Matt in this case. Great defenses, both college and the NFL level, really truly play offense. They dictate to you what you can do. I don't know how great this defense is as a unit yet. And I know that he's going to try some things. Obviously, he comes from Bill Belichick's coaching tree, which we don't really even need to bring up what that man's meant to defense over the last 25, 30 years. But I think that it's going to be very similar to what they had last year because you have a field general on the field that's basically a coach in Caleb Downs. And I think he's seen enough at this point, whether you look at like a Sonny or a Caleb Downs, even a Jermaine Matthews to an extent. They saw what the top end level of college football looks like. They saw what Oregon looks like. They saw what Tennessee looked like. They saw what, Texas last year looked like. They saw what Notre Dame looked like. And they can now tell you, hey, based on what we did last year, this is what I think someone would come out and counter with. And I think that that's going to be a much more collaborative process as the year goes on. So trying to predict what they throw out there in week 1 is kind of useless because there is no tape about it. There is nothing that we can pull from on the Patricia side. For Hartline, I think it's going to be very much the Ryan Day offense that we're used to, maybe with some fun wrinkles here and there, but that's where you got to start, right? Hart and Ryan Day have been together for a hot minute, and I think that at some point that mind meld is going to give us basically 80% of the same offense we've already seen.
I have 2 quick follow-ups to this conversation in regards to Matt Patricia. When we think about Jim Knowles, when he was being pitched to Ohio State fans is why we should be exciting. The calling card was his ability to get off the field on 3rd down. You're quite familiar with Matt Patricia. If you had to say he had a calling card, or if he was a Pokemon card, what would his powers be listed as? Like, what should fans expect from a Matt Patricia defense? What is it that Ryan Day saw in him that made him want to be this defensive coordinator for the Ohio State Buckeyes?
Yeah, I really think it's linebackers. I think that his work with linebackers, especially while he was in New England, and kind of what he turned some of those guys that were later round gems into for New England was one of the reasons that they kept him around. But I'm very interested to see how he works at a college football level because we've seen people rip this off before. Obviously, because we're Buckeye fans, we follow a lot of what Michigan does year by year and pay attention to them as we should. That's our rival. But, you look at like a Jesse Minter and a Mike McDonald that came from NFL-style defenses, even Wink Martindale now. You're starting to see college football defenses evolve the way that NFL defenses have to stop a lot of the gimmick stuff. And not to put anybody on blast, but it's like a Josh Heupel offense.
Oh, I knew the name that you were going to say.
where last year you looked and you watched, and look, I think it was Brooks Austin that said this, and love him, love all of his content. But he was like, "You're Tennessee. You're not going to have top 10 recruiting classes every year, top 5 recruiting classes like in Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, and Alabama. You're going to have to at some point scheme your way to wins that you might not otherwise be able to talent your way out of." Ohio State and Texas are in a weird spot here where they've got all the talent in the world. It's just a matter of how do these pieces fit together. Patricia and Pete Kwiatkowski would know that way better than anyone in terms of how these defenses are going to look. But I'm much more interested overall in this game on where each team takes their shots. As you know, Arch is going to look for Ryan Wingo for the big one. We're going to look for Jeremiah for the big one. When and how do they try to do that is interesting to me because I think when we played Clemson in 2019, the first time, you saw Ryan try to throw the ball down the field significantly. Not that we didn't do that in 2020, but you saw the second time that we played them, the tight ends got much more involved, and there was wide open space in there. So it might be Claire, it might be one of the tight ends for Texas. Andrews is an awesome player, but I think you're going to watch how these teams attack open space in real time, and that'll tell you a lot about how Sark feels about what his offense can do against this Ohio State defense. Mainly because we watched it happen last year. Sonny Styles is an awesome football player. He does not need to be in coverage against running backs. We saw it twice. Texas scored 14 points last year.
Are we going to be able to
How many points did they score in that game? How many points did they score in that game? Q, Ron?
14.
Yeah. So I think that there are advantages to not having your scheme on paper for 3+ years for people to figure out the tendencies of. But I think he's also going to have to kind of put his feet into the fire and learn in real time, because one of the things that we've talked about on other shows, I don't know if we brought it up here, is the difference between college football and NFL hash marks is a drastic difference in terms of how you play with and operate in space. And college football forces you to defend a lot more widthwise than the NFL does, based on where you start. The wide side of the field is much wider in college football than it is in the NFL. I think that there's going to be an adjustment period. I hope that adjustment period is the first quarter and it's not the first full game. But when you're talking about one of the 3 best offensive minds in the sport, Texas is going to find ways to attack space and create chunk plays. It's just a matter of, again, like we were talking about with Knowles' defense and when he did so well last year, those chunk plays rarely turned into touchdowns, especially in meaningful moments. So we hope that we can keep that moving, but I don't – it's tough to tell you what a Matt Patricia defense at Ohio State's going to look like just because you don't have NFL players that are, 12-year veterans doing all these things.
That are drafted yet.
Yeah. These are – as we say often on our show when we're talking about college players getting drafted to the NFL – these are 18 to 22-year-olds. Remember what you were like as an 18 to 22-year-old, where you consisted day to day, week to week, month to month. Never forget that they're still 18 to 22-year-olds.
I told Q a little peek behind the curtain. I said, Q, I got 2 questions. I've already used one of them, but I'm going to sneak in one more. And then Q, you got to take it away with questions. This is a yes or no, so we don't get too sidetracked. You brought up Josh Heupel. Yes or no? Peyton Manning would allow Marshall Manning to play in Josh Heupel's offense.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know Peyton would sign off on the gimmick.
Yeah. Hey, Hendon Hooker, 2nd round pick, man. Jalen Hyatt. If it works, it works. And it works. Again, the gimmick offenses work until they don't, but Heupel's offense is certainly interesting.
And then my other follow-up, and this can be a quick one, and before Q jumps in here, make sure you guys smash that like, subscribe over here at Dead Air Sports. If you're watching on Twitter, make sure you go ahead and retweet that video. If this was a Madden slider and you had to put it one way or another as far as play calling defensively, Matt Patricia versus Sark. We know Sark's at the top of the game. We don't know where Matt Patricia is as far as college football ranks, but just based off of pedigree, where do you lean as far as advantage there as a football mind going up against each other in this chess match that we're going to see on Saturday?
Yeah, I think purely football mind-wise, it'd probably be 65-35 Sark, because I'm not going to put someone in his realm until I've seen them do it. That being said, breaking in a new offensive line, they're going to have some early figuring out to do in terms of this game and what they think they can run. But purely coach versus coach, all things equal, we just have default Madden players out there. I'd say about 65-35 towards Sark.
All right, Q. The floor is yours.
All right, I'm going to piggyback off Ron a little bit. He talked about Matt Patricia. Obviously, we got to see what his scheme is going to look like coming into this game. But we know Matt Patricia walked in and looked around Ohio State's roster defensively and was like, well, holy shit. Like, I got some dudes, and he's known as the mad scientist. So I want to ask you, on Saturday, who do you think Matt Patricia is going to spotlight? You talk about the work he did with linebackers. We know what our Reese and Sonny are. I'm really interested to see if he can get more juice out of them on Saturday, I will go bananas. But who are a couple guys on your short list that you're looking at Saturday? Like, I really want to see what Matt Peep does with those and how those guys, how effective they're going to be.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what the DB rotation looks like, whether that's safety or, whether we rotate in a third corner. If we see Devin Sanchez, because again, like freshmen don't look like that ever. What does that DB rotation look like at safety? Obviously opposite Caleb, and then with the corners that we're going to run out there. Then obviously Kenyatta Jackson, which, man, like if you watch him in person, cat's different. I know he's waited his turn for a while, but
if you put a lie detector test on Kenyatta Jackson as a sophomore, I know he has great reverence for the guys that were just ahead of him. He's thought he's the best defensive end on this team since he was 19 years old.
He might be right. Crazy. And then I can't remember who it was. One of the Buckeye Huddle guys when we were walking by, it was like, I can't wait to watch Arvell Reese turn someone into a fine pink mist, which I think is just an excellent descriptor for how he plays football. I told Ron while we were over there, I was like, he plays football like someone on meth, which is exactly how I want my linebackers to play football. And so I'm extremely excited to see, Sonny and Arvell as these freak athletes. How does Matt Patricia try to rein them in their reads in potential coverage situations? And how often does he just let them hunt the way that, it seems like they're meant to hunt? I think that's the most interesting part of this to me is, Jim Knowles clearly was a secondary whisperer. And, once we figured out what we were doing with the D-lines and the stunts and the twists, he clearly had it all figured out. When you watch, Oregon in that first half try to move the ball in the Rose Bowl, there's nothing. I mean, the nothing is open. There's no read to have. Like, you saw Dylan Gabriel was a very qualified quarterback that has seen a lot of ball, looked like a total duck out there, had no idea what he was looking at. And, they did the same thing to Nico. They did the same thing for a lot of the game to Quinn Ewers, despite Sark's magic. And so a lot of this for Matt Patricia to me is, what can you do with these generational athletes? I'm not saying they're generational football players. I mean, but you're talking about, Sonny Styles does not look like a human being. Arvell Reese does not look like a human being. I'm not sure Caleb Downs is a human being. When you have all of these dudes to deploy as you see fit, even though you had some great players in New England, you were not talent mismatching people like you will with these guys. And so I'm supremely excited to see, will he just let them do what they do and go hunt? Will he play off coverage and kind of try to get everything in front of them and let them rally and tackle? I'm very excited to see if he tries to play offense on defense the way that Knowles did, or if it's just, hey, man, like, we have really great athletes. At some point, we're going to beat them at their own game. We're okay with giving up 3rd and 3, and we'll get back to 1st and 10 and make them grind the ball down the field.
All right, fair enough. One guy I'm contractually obligated to ask about. We talked about generational athletes. We have one on the roster that we've really got.
I know
none.
Nick McLarty.
Yeah, Nick McLarty. Can't. This just made me think about yesterday. Like, man, that dude has a strong leg, but he must do everything else wrong. But
put his hand in the dirt, Ryan. Let's see what we got.
Wait, no, time out. Did you see the team question where they asked him, hey, if there was a TikTok on Ohio State's TikTok, and they asked him, if the media could ask you one question, what would you want it to be? He was like, what position I'd play if I wasn't a punter.
Defensive end, man.
God. I got to camp and I pointed at McLarty and I said, wow, that Bo Atkinson guy is huge. He's like, that's the punter.
It's so funny to watch him next to the other specialists because it looks like a dad and his kids. I mean, it's just
like he's taking like a dad dressed up with his kids that wanted to be football players for trick or treat.
Yes. Yes. It's exactly what it looks like.
But back to on topic. Yeah, I'm wondering, man. We've gotten all the PR we possibly could. Matt Patricia walked in.
Wait, what? What did you just say?
We've gotten all the PR we possibly could for CJ Hicks this offseason. Matt Patricia stood next to him in the practice shots. We've had him called Mini Abdul Carter. We've had all kind of stuff happen. What are we actually going to get on Saturday? What do you think Matt Patricia is going to do with the former five-star CJ Hicks?
I think he's going to be a rotational edge rusher. I would assume that given his speed and flexibility for someone that's playing a position that he's really playing, one level down from, which Urban Meyer will tell you everybody should do. But I think they're going to put him on the opposite side of Sonny and let him go hunt. I think he's going to be kind of your third down, real blitz the passer, whether you're going to actually play him at edge or whether he's going to play that kind of off linebacker position. If we have a rushing package, I would assume that he's going to be one of the guys that's part of it. I think that's kind of his position for the time being until they figure out in the grander scheme of what Matt's going to do, where his role really lies. But I think for Saturday, it's he's gone hunting.
Fair enough. Going over to the offensive side of the ball, we talked about it earlier, the get out of jail free card being number 4, but we might have a second get out of jail free card at tight end. Max Clare comes over, and I'm wondering, Julian Sands' best friend, if Texas has a matchup with all these guys on the outside, what are they going to be able to do with Max Clare on Saturday? Because I feel like it could be a Max Clare, exclamation day.
Yeah, so to everybody that's asked, I've told them that I don't think that this is going to be the huge Jeremiah Smith game. One, because they got close to beating us the last time without letting him go fully off. He's going to get his. I don't think we're going to see one catch for 3 yards again. But I think it's a big Carnell Tate day, and I think it's a big Max Clare day. And the reason is when you have to get on those dudes with safeties and linebackers, they're just – when you watch Max and what he did at Purdue last year, this is the best talent at tight end Ohio State has ever had. And, I don't say that lightly. Shout out Ben Hardsock. That's my guy. We can go down the list, Nick Van Ette, whoever you want. There's never been juice like this. Neither both as a blocker and as a receiver. He's a matchup nightmare, and I think that he will be a very high NFL draft pick when he comes out. The interesting part to me, as far as Ohio State's pass game goes, is you probably have 28 to 30 attempts in this game. How do you distribute them? Where do they go? How often do you prioritize a Max Clare and a Carnell Tate and a Brandon Ennis, who I know Ron is going to go on a soliloquy about here shortly?
Exactly. I'm just going to jump in here right now because Q brought up a get out of jail free card, and he said, Max Clare, I'm going to show you a get out of jail free card right here. There it is, right there.
Really
SFE. That's your get out of jail free card. We've been waiting years to watch this national OT7 national championship trio finally hit the field together, and we're going to watch Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, and Brandon Ennis do what we've been watching them do for 4 years now, and that's put belt to ass every time they step on the field together. And I don't care who you're out there playing, there is not a team in the country that is going to be able to stop those 3. And then you add in Max Clare in the mix. Every time I start to humble myself when it comes to this team, I think about this collection of players, and I'm just like, I don't know who's going to stop it.
Ron, I don't think you've ever humbled yourself when it comes to SFE. I don't think that was ever even started.
Has it ever been necessary, though?
Where's when you need him?
Has it ever been 30 necessary?
Seconds. Max Clare, who is that? SFE.
SFE, bro. I need a Max Clare and an SFE hoodie expeditiously. Get the photo on the timeline. Jay Winbrook,
Photoshop it whether it happens or not. and then you have, nobody's talking about it. If they're as confident in James Peoples as I think they are, him out of the backfield too. I mean, you got kind of your remake.
Because Ryan Day had an interesting comment and said that ball security is the most important thing out of that room, and 3 guys are definitely going to play. With the stakes that high, how short is the leash going to be with all 3 of these running backs when he said the word win 97 times in his most recent press conference, and I don't think he has any room for feelings. We heard Coach Locke say, if you came here for me to be your friend, you came to the wrong school. How short is the leash going to be for these running backs, and how tempted are they going to be to ride the hot hand in a game with such high stakes?
Stop trying to tell me to talk about Bo Jackson without telling me to talk about Bo Jackson, dude. I know where you're going with it. You want to slip?
I'm trying to walk you there.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I think he will play, and I think he will get a couple carries, but come on, dog. Like, this is going to be
He
James
said
Peoples'
3 guys
job
are going to play on Saturday.
Turbo Rogers.
Okay, he also said we had a quarterback competition when it was Dwayne Haskins and Joe Burrow with one arm. How much of that is coach speak and how much are we actually going to see? I do think we'll see 3 running backs. Now, I think that we hope to see the third running back when it's 42-0 in the third quarter. Do I think that's likely? No. I wish. That'd be a nice fun Saturday for us, 70 degrees outside in Columbus.
Well, how about this? Over under first carry for Bo Jackson, 2.5 quarters.
Under. I think that they're going to – I think Donaldson and Bo Jackson will probably split a drive, or at least a portion of the drive at some point in the first half. Like, I don't think that it's that much separation between those two, but it's going to be James Peoples until it's not, man.
I've said this time in and time out. If James Peoples goes out there and balls out, and we saw it, I tweeted it the second that he did it. I said, he absolutely flashed at practice. I have just yet to see it in a game setting. Nothing overly impressive in the spring game. Limited touches last year. I can't come out here and say this guy is going to be J.K. Dobbins when he's played a year of college football, and I haven't seen that yet.
When has not seeing someone perform ever stopped you from going off about
if they didn't play for SFE?
Yeah. great question. I don't know what Violet Crab is, but he's an All-American.
You know, it's like as soon as Max Clare gets an SFE sweatshirt, suddenly he's Ron.
No, I'm sold on him. I watched him play at Purdue. Ridiculous.
When was the last time we said that about someone for Purdue? Don't answer that. I know the answer, and I don't want to hear it.
A poorly performing episode that we did during the off season after to start the return of the show.
Nah, I mean, Julian's going to have his fun with whoever it is that he's throwing to. It's a matter of getting him comfortable, making sure that he doesn't have happy feet as a QB, as we've seen plenty of young QBs have. And just basically making sure that he understands he doesn't have to win this game. It's on him not to lose it. They have enough around him that this game doesn't have to be the Julian Sand show. Now, at some point this year, they might need him to do that. And they may ask him to do that, and he may grow into that role. But this is not 2023 CJ Stroud, 2022 CJ Stroud. This is not 2018 Dwayne Haskins. This is not 2020 Justin Fields. Just expect him to be very, very good in kind of the way that Ryan's quarterbacks have always been very good. And we'll see if he grows into that role and if he's ready for that moment. But everything that we've seen when we were out of practice suggests that he is. So,
all right,
we'll see.
Got one more before we pivot. Me and Ron talked about this yesterday, and I wanted to push this in. We're talking about Ryan Day at the mountaintop. So clearly he's won his natty. We're seeing Ryan Day move a little bit more confident now. And me and Ron had a discussion yesterday. Like, what does this season mean for Ryan Day? Now, we know he needs to beat Michigan. We talked about that. That's got to happen. But I'm talking about a confident Ryan Day going into the season. Now, no one can tell him nothing because he's done it. He knows the formula. He just needs to find a way to replicate it and keep his success. Starting with this Texas game, which is a big-time game, and submitting that and keep it moving forward. What do you expect from Ryan Day this season as a newly confident coach?
I think that the biggest thing for Ryan is, everybody else is treating him differently. I think he's hoping that everybody in the building treats him the same because he's the same coach. We talked about this a couple weeks back in training camp, and then obviously when we went through what we went through at the end of November last year. Field goal goes through the uprights at midnight, and he would have been a national champion 3 years ago. Does that change who he is as a coach? Is he fundamentally any better or worse for having done that? I personally don't think so, but those are the narratives that go along with it, right? And then you're on Kimmel and you're on Good Morning America, and in Columbus, people are asking you for autographs, and you're viewed as this kind of symbolic figure of someone that helped Ohio State football reach the mountaintop in a way that, others haven't. You know how much our quarterbacks are revered. Cardale Jones will never have to pay for a drink in this city ever again. Will Howard, same thing. Craig Krenzel, same thing. I think that the reason that he's moving so different is not for our internal Ohio State community of people that have doubted him, because there's always going to be some portion of your fan base.
They have a name.
Whatever you're doing. No, they don't. Not today, they don't. Sorry, Kirko. I think he's moving differently because he understands that nationally he's being viewed differently, and there are now expectations for him to continue to be able to produce results like that, which they did that to Kirby, they did that to Dabo, they did that to Saban, they did that to Meyer, they did that to basically anybody that's ever reached the mountaintop. Is okay. Well, he did it once. Can he do it again? Is he Ed Orgeron or is he someone else? Is he, Gus Malzahn? Is he Gene Chizik? Is he Jimbo Fisher? Which I think his record proves otherwise. But because of
Jimbo
how
Fisher,
loud
you got
the
a
noise
payday
has got,
ahead of him.
I got to call the boosters. Let me get back to you. But, I think for him, so much of it is just a weight that's lifted off of his shoulders, where nobody is second guessing his decisions anymore with any kind of authority. Now, that's not to say that people won't like decisions that he makes staff wise, or in terms of who we look for in the portal, or who we sign in a given class. But I think the immediate, I don't trust him to do this because I haven't seen him do this, is gone. And so now, of course, you're acting different, man. If everybody starts treating you different, you might start acting a little different too. That first debut single drops and it goes multi-platinum. Yeah, you're probably going to go grab a chain. You're probably going to go find someone you probably shouldn't be taking pictures with. And yeah, your chest might be out a little more than it usually would be.
Before we pivot to this last segment, we got a fun new game that I'm super excited to play. Q doesn't even know about this game. I think he just found out who the special guest was when they entered the chat. But I wanted to get your score prediction and just a little idea of how you see this game playing out on Saturday.
Yeah, I think that both teams probably score in the first quarter. Someone gets up 7-3, regardless of who it is. It's kind of going to be 7-3, and then I think we're kind of looking at maybe like a 10-7 halftime score somewhere in there. And by the end of the game, I think the third quarter is going to be that gnashing of heads between Ryan and Sark, somebody trying to find a big play, and we'll see if they do it, because I don't think they're going to be very available all day long. I think the game ends 20-17. For the sake of my Buckeye fans out here, I'll say Ohio State, but it's really going to be one of those things where it will be the last 8 minutes of that game. I think you're looking at two of the best teams in the country. I think that they should probably be ranked 1 and 2. I understand why they're ranked 1 and 3. They're power rated rankings wise, two of the best teams in the country. And I think that their national title expectations for both sides are completely warranted and valid. It's just going to be one of those situations where our fans need to show up, our quarterback needs to show up for 1 or 2 drives, and our defense needs to prove that last year was just the beginning of what they could do. And I think that they're all capable of doing that.
20-17, 2 potential scenarios: 2 made field goals by Jaden Fielding, 1 missed extra point. How do we get there?
2 made field goals. I'm not doing the hating the kicker thing. We're not doing this. We're not doing this.
It's my favorite bit. But we're gonna pivot to another one. We have a special guest who needs no introduction. Hello,
fellas. What up, boys?
How's it going,
What up,
Chris?
Good, man. You guys are killing. You guys are so formal, but over here it's like, I'm a little coffeeed up, and I'm kind of like, what are we, like 2 days away from this game? I can't remember a more hyped game, but I was telling Ron before this, I've been like obsessed with playing this game, and it's like a trivia auction. So I'm gonna give you guys a category, and then I'll start with Ron. He'll tell you how many from this category he can name, and then it's up to everybody else to keep going up until one person calls BS. And if they call BS, then you have to name your price. So the example that I had earlier today, I told Zach, I was like, hey, like white receivers at Ohio State. Pat said he can name one. Zach said he can name four. Pat said BS, and Zach had to name them. So for you guys, the topic is, since the Urban Meyer era, players from the state of Florida. We'll start with Ron.
I had a feeling that this might be one of the topics. I'm willing to start the bidding at.
Don't start it too high. Start it kind of low.
I'm willing to start. I'll start it at 6.
So Ron can name 6.
Since the Urban Meyer era. I could probably go 6. I'll probably go 6 as well.
No, Q,
you either got to raise it.
You got to go.
Oh, I got to raise it?
You got to go up a number.
I'll probably
Or you got to call
7.
BS.
I'll go 7. I might be able to get 7 out.
Q, you got to name 7.
I got to name 7.
Oh, we call BS early. They don't believe in you.
Yeah, early. Okay.
You got to name 7.
Since the Urban Meyer era, right?
Yeah, 1 sec. You got 1 minute, dude.
I got 1 minute. All right. Brandon Ennis, Jarquez Carter. Are we? Show me that. Does Cardell take out? Was he from Indiana, but he played in Florida?
No, he does not.
Jeremiah Smith. That's 3. Who am I missing from the state of Florida? Good Lord, you got me blanking. What was that? What I got? 3 so far?
Yeah, dog.
I ain't worried about that timer, boy. Get that joint on my face.
Man, I will fucking smoke this. I'll give you 7 and not name the 3 that he named.
Oh,
He said, let me make this about me.
Why am I blanking on the linebacker from Florida? Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, so disrespectful. I want to reach through the fucking screen and smack you in the mouth.
You got 3 since the Urban Meyer era?
Bro, it's been a long day. I hate to tell you.
All right, are you tapping out?
Yeah, let me tell you. Go ahead, Ron.
All right, we're at 3. We got Benjamin Victor.
There we
We
go.
got Bryson Rogers. We got Cedric Hawkins. We got who else do we have? We have Kenyatta Jackson. Running backs. What are we at? What number am I at?
That's 4.
That's 4. Not naming the ones that he named already.
Yeah,
Right.
not naming those.
Ryan Shazier.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. Let's see. Famous Florida guy. Santonio Holmes.
That's pre-Herbs.
That's pre-Urban.
Oh,
era.
pre-Herbs. Okay.
Are you people serious right now?
Go ahead. Jump
There are
in.
2 guys that wore number 97. They might have been all right.
Oh, the Bosas. There we go. 7.
I was waiting on someone to get that, man. The boat is hanging out there. You could have went Trayvon Grimes on top of that. And you also, if you wanted a deep cut, Torrance Gibson, I thought was going to be an absolute star.
Ooh,
Deep cut.
Look, we could go. You know, it's so tricky because like when you put on the spot like that with a timer clicking, it doesn't come. It's
Peek
hard.
behind the curtain. How close did I come to get 9? I almost got 10 Texas Buckeyes. I got the 9 installed. I did a good job there. Florida, I didn't want to cheat because I had a feeling that might be where he pivoted the question, and I didn't want to overthink about it because it would have been super corny for me to just be like, I knew them.
Well, dude, I saw the one where they were like, all right, name NFL or NBA Finals MVPs. And the kid's like, well, I can name 3. And then the dude's like, I can name 6. I can name, and then the kid's like, I can name 7. Actually, I can name all of them. And then went down and listed all 50, whatever. And it was like, okay, like, got it, kid. I thought you were going to pull one of those, Ron. But
Q with his best Pat impression right there. Jeez.
Yeah, dude, I wish I had that.
We have 6 on the roster.
I know. I was thinking, I'm like, Will, what? When my blank, I started to go current, and then I was like, let me go back, and then it literally blanked from there.
Yeah, dude, when you get put on the spot, man, it's real hard. But you guys did a great job, man. I'm excited about the Texas game. Since nobody asked my score prediction, I'm not going to give one.
Okay, you didn't have another topic. We're just doing.
Can we
state of
do
Florida?
one
I thought
more?
we had
Now that
more
we're
options.
warmed up?
We could do another one, but Q hit me with the "it's been a long day," so I didn't know if it's past bro's bedtime or not.
Give
It's
us
like
another one, Chris.
It's like 4 p.m. where he's at. It's 1 a.m. where I'm at.
Let's go again. Another one, Chris. Let's go.
All right, I'm with it. Let's go 1,000-yard running rushers at Ohio State.
I'll start low at 3.
Ron can name 3.
I'll go 4.
Q can name 4.
It needs
6?
Call him BS.
Call him BS on 6. Let's hear it.
J.K. Dobbins.
Okay.
We've got Quinshawn and Travion last year. We've got, if you go back, Carlos Hyde, Mike Weber. You've got
Did Mike get to 1K in a season?
Yeah, he did get the 1K.
he did. Antonio Pittman.
Ah,
go-
that was the one.
Maurice Claret. We can go back to, anybody you want. You let me know.
All right.
And he didn't even name Zeke.
Yeah, that was 7.
No, that
was
was
the
too
flex.
easy. That's too easy.
He's like,
Seven
I'm not even.
knows
He's
Zeke,
like, I'm
no
not even
Eddie.
gonna go back.
Oh, yeah.
All
We
right,
had
here
a
we go.
lot of great ones,
I was
man.
gonna-
Underrated
I was gonna-
running backs.
I was gonna suggest a category of Buckeyes from your home state, but someone has home field advantage.
Yeah, I think I got that one.
Yeah, that one does not feel very fair. Okay, how about this? Buckeyes from Jersey.
There.
I think I got-
I'll start. We'll roll around the Ron. I'll start. I'll go 6.
What?
Bullshit.
No shot.
I was going.
I was going to say, I don't think I can name 6.
Way that he got 6. Let's
Unless
hear it.
Paramus Catholic has 6 for us.
Buckeyes from Jersey?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. Give me Igmanosin. Tywone Malone. That's 2. Kyle McCord. Does that count?
Yes.
Him and
I'll give you
Marv.
Colin
No.
Ford.
You and
He's
Marv
from
don't
Philly,
count?
remember?
He was from Jersey after the Notre Dame game, though.
Yeah. All right. So Mars from Jersey. Who am I missing?
No,
Marvin-
wrong.
They all played it.
They played at St. Joe's Prep in Philadelphia.
Oh,
Q.
Philly. Ah, so both of those are wrong. All right. So how many you got so far? 2?
3.
I got 3. Jalen McClain.
Yeah.
Right. All right. That's
4.
4. I need 2 more. Who else is from Jersey? I'm missing one. I'm missing what's the
You
other
have
dude?
2 easy ones, honestly. That
Really
like
easy ones.
super easy ones.
Bro, you saying that makes it harder.
Recent, if you need a hint. Current team and last year's team, you could get it done.
Bro, I'm missing a wide receiver. I know.
And one of the people, someone was extra excited to get his autograph at camp.
Okay, we're not doing
nope.
this.
All right. I need 2 more. Huh?
Brother,
Where'd
we're
you
waiting
go?
on you. I don't know what you
No.
hunting for.
I thought you said something. Damn, who am I missing? Somebody help me out. Call the card.
Cody
Porter,
Simon,
Curtis
there's one of
Samuel.
them.
That could have got you to 6.
Wait, who? Y'all talked at the same time.
Quincy Porter, Curtis Samuel could have got you to 6.
Ah, that's what I was missing. No, it wasn't Quincy Porter. It was the other one. Who's the other one from Jersey? He's a
Could have
freshman.
went with Luke Whippler, Tyler Friday, Eli Apple, Jordan Thomas from this year's team, Demarion Simeon from the 25 class as well. You had a lot of options there with recent history and fumbled that. 6 was an insane guess there. Like, I can't believe that's what you picked.
Keep the stakes high. I was expecting to keep going. Y'all don't even let it go around once.
Well, the thing is, like, if you start with too high of a number, it's like, what the heck? You're just going to call
That's
BS.
because you said you could name half of them.
Yeah. All right, let's see. How well do you know your opponent? Texas starting quarterbacks.
I feel like I can comfortably get you 5.
Damn, I was gonna go 5. All right, I'll go 6.
Q's
I
got
can get you
6.
8.
Ooh,
8?
8?
Let's hear it.
You can get us 8.
Yeah. Colt McCoy will go. Obviously, Arch Manning incoming. Quinn Ewers. We have Sam Ellinger. You've got why am I blanking on the kid that transferred? Okay, forget about him. Not
I know
important.
who you're thinking of.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
There's some guy named Vince Young. He was pretty good. We've got, if you go,
Famous dad.
Oh God, damn it!
It's hard, dude.
Case McCoy. We have two McCoys.
Okay, that's 6.
I have 2 more. I know I have 2 more.
There was one, the kid that they took over, JT Barrett.
Oh, why am I totally blanking on that entire era? Because I forgot it existed. They were so bad.
So did Texas fans.
Damn it. There's the kid that was.
I honestly think you've probably met one of the people that you're forgetting. Given all of your travels, you might even have a picture with this person, to be completely honest with you. Their father is a Hall of Famer.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I
know.
got that.
Shit.
The chat's screaming at you right now.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to tap out at 6. I thought I had 8 in me.
Chris Sims!
Yeah,
Chris Sims, duh.
Chris Sims, Swoops, and Malik Murphy started the game.
Malik Murphy is the one that I couldn't remember.
Yeah,
he said he transferred.
You were close. You had him.
No,
that Case McCoy was a deep cut.
That's definitely no. That's
There
definitely
was once upon a time that Case McCoy and Jackson Shipley were supposed to be Colt and Jordan 2.0.
But that's all I got, gang. I hope you guys fucked with that. I want to run that again sometime.
Yeah,
soon.
that was super fun.
Great, man.
It's just hard when you're on the spot.
But get us out of here, Ron. Do your thing.
Yeah, man. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Disappointing that we only got to 41 likes yesterday, so Q is going to be remain named. Smash that like. Oh, just fired everybody. You guys are back. Rehired. A blip in the HR office. Everybody, I appreciate you guys all tuning in. Smash that like button. We're trying to get to 50 likes. We did it for 2 days, and then we got 41 yesterday, so now Q doesn't get his name back. So we're working on that. If you could do it, it helps us a ton. It's free. Anand, we really appreciate you joining us. Let the people know where they could find you.
You know, you can find me on Buckeye Roast anytime we have a big game. But outside of that, you can find me at Player Profiler on a show called Decision Point, where we mostly talk NFL stuff and discuss front office dealings, and at a football game near you. So if you see me somewhere, come say hey.
I have one more question for you. Over or under 15.5 wins for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year?
You talking about the next 2 years?
Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. I should feel elite. This is a show of Steelers and Ravens fans talking to Browns and Bengals fans here.
Nah, man. Yeah, I don't see it.
You don't see it? Okay. Q, let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, man. Make sure you like that video. Appreciate everybody coming through in the chat. And then if you have time, go like yesterday's video so I get my name back as well. Not hard to find. Not hard to find. Appreciate Anna coming through. It's always good to talk to him. City Boy Quentin on Twitter, Flying at Johnson on Instagram, and every morning here on Dead Air Sports during the Buckeye Roast. Make sure to like that video and share it to somebody who doesn't know we're back or needs some good Buckeye content. This is where you find us. Ron, get us out of here.
Yeah, you guys all know where to find Kris Drew, but I do want to add in
a couple. Find me here. This is where I'm at
on Dead Air Sports for I-71 rundown. Chris, tell them what you got going on this channel.
Dude, I'm recording so much. I'm doing a lot more Ohio sports stuff, and then obviously I'm going to be jumping on Ron and Q every now and again, mostly for Ron because I don't really like Q. But I'll be here. You can catch me here, and then so at some point here pretty soon, I need to start streaming. I'm going to let everybody kind of into the world of how I write every show. So that'll be exciting. So be on the lookout for some streams. That means hitting that little bell. I don't ask for too much, but the bell feels like a solid ask for today.
Yeah, 2 other places that Chris forgot to mention that you'll be able to find him. You'll be able to find him here Saturday for a pregame show, correct?
That's right. No, I did record a probably the most in-depth pregame I've ever done. I put my Sirius cap on instead of my morning drinks with Ron on Saturday morning.
Yeah, I was so offended when Chris called me the other day and was like, "Bro, I think I just recorded the greatest pregame show I've ever done." And I was like, "Wow, that fucking sucks to hear, being that we just did a pregame show together for 2 straight years." That's terrible.
Honestly, it was like I meant more serious. It was a real let me get in the weeds and put the cap on. I've never had more fun than what I've had with Ron.
What are you saying?
Yeah, okay.
Only when you talk about the Steelers, though.
I was a Steelers fan when me and Ron did the show together. Now I'm not.
Yeah, bro. I heard you call them my Giants the other day on the show, and I was heartbroken. I said you abandoned the Steelers that much. I didn't know you were that big of a Russell Wilson guy that you were going to jump ship with him. But
no. Everybody that knows me knows that Mr. J Dart, I choose you. We're all in. We're all in.
Well, another place that you could find Chris on Saturday is in the Bleacher Report app with me immediately in the post game. We will be doing an instant reaction in the Bleacher Report app. Make sure that you are in the Ohio State team feed right after the game to catch our instant thoughts. And you can also catch Chris's thoughts tomorrow in the Bleacher Report app in the Ohio State tab. So make sure you are subscribed in the Ohio State team feed and you have the Bleacher Report app downloaded, because you're going to be getting tons of content from me and Kris Drew inside the Bleacher Report app this year. If you want to find more of me, you can see me right here on Dead Air Sports with my guy Smash That Like right under me. And we do the show, the Buckeye Roast, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m., talking all things Buckeyes throughout the season. You can catch me on Twitter at 2Ts. It's 2_TES. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you smash that like button. A big thank you to all of our guests. And you guys know how this thing ends. It's always go Bucks. And of course, OH.
Ayo.
Example, when things get hard in life, you just keep swinging as hard as you can. You fight. That's our culture.
I promised you we had a plan. Remember that we talked about a plan? The plan was infallible. Part of that infallible plan is getting a team prepared, ready to go, so we start practice. Our coaches know what we got. And there's not one person in America I trusted more than Coach Mick and that staff. Think about this. 130 teams either today, they report, or they've already reported. 130. 16 weeks from now, there's going to be one champion. One champion in our conference, one champion on the side of our conference. And in the country, one team's going to do this. Not 36, not 48, not 44. One. That tells you how hard it is to be a champion. To do right all the time. To know your assignments. To have 11 guys play hard on every snap. That's hard. That's why there's one. I want a hungry team. I want a hungry team. I want a team that can't wait to get out there. So there's a bunch of players that maybe, whenever your new coaching staff, you haven't played much, maybe you're trying to make a name for yourself, you're a hungry football player. I want a hungry team. And last one, most importantly, I've got to coach a few of them. I want an angry team. I want a pissed off football team. I want a team that has a little chip on their shoulder. Maybe something's been taken from you. Maybe something hasn't. Maybe something's been taken from you. Are you a team that's going to go get it? You're the Ohio State Buckeyes. You're an angry football team. You got an angry staff. You got a bunch of guys that are getting ready to start a journey. We're starting that journey tomorrow at 5 a.m. You're a hungry football team, and I'm proud to be your coach. There's a plan in place, right?
People don't even know. They thought that was his signature, but he actually